Alright, welcome back everybody for another episode. Sorry about yesterday, my fan from my laptop kicked on and apparently made a lot of background noise. I didn't notice until I watched the video later, checking for ways to improve for you guys. So hopefully it's a little bit better today. I closed out Google Earth, which seemed to be causing my computer fan to kick on. So let's go ahead and take a look here at this video. I think it will paint a picture of what's going on in the UK region of the world. We're going to start with Western events.
Alright, well, lads, just coming to have the chat while I'm playing a bit of FIFA. But anyway, lads, to be fair, lads, what's going on in Ireland? We're seeing, I'm only coming back now from Africa, and my brothers want to come into this country. A few of the lads from Africa want to come into this country, and they're asking me, is it good in Ireland? I'm telling them yes, but I'm after coming back and I'm seeing that the Irish are trying to kick the blacks out. Blacks out where? Blacks out where? Tell us the truth. Blacks out where? We come into the country, we pay our taxes, we pay our rent, we pay our everything. On time as well. We don't collect the dole. I don't know one black person that collects the dole. If you're black and you collect the dole, you're just a lazy black bastard, to be fair. But I know all the blacks that I know. We pay our rent, we pay our taxes, we pay everything. We even pay the waterman. Telling you the truth. Stop with this fucking shit, get the blacks out the country. We'll remain in the fucking country.
So you can see tensions are growing in the UK region of the world. Article here says the cancer cash flow, why big pharma fears natural cures. And the article reads, it's time to wake up, see through the corporate propaganda, and embrace the real solutions that God provides. The cure for cancer isn't locked away in some pharmaceutical lab. Interesting thing about cancer is it's a metabolic disease. When you have severe insulin resistance of your mitochondria then sprout new insulin receptors because the old insulin receptors have lost sensitivity because they've been bombarded by insulin. And these new insulin receptors that it pops out are very, very, very sensitive to insulin. And thus you get runaway growth or cancer. So if it's a metabolic disease, couldn't you remove the thing causing insulin resistance, like a high carbohydrate, high sugar, and alcohol diet? Couldn't you fast for a period of time and thus A, kill the cancer, kill the tumor, and then B, also increase insulin sensitivity of the insulin receptors that were there? Interesting thought. Once you realize cancer is a metabolic disease, and that's why it spreads and grows rapidly. And in some areas of the body, faster than others, because there's some areas of the body that have higher density concentration of mitochondria. Strange concept. Isn't it interesting? We see metabolic diseases increasing at the same time as cancer. I wonder if there's a relation there. Probably just correlation and not causation, right? Missouri's public health department has reported a human case of H5 bird flu with no known link to animals. Here we go, people. Here it comes. And following that, the United States will resume mandatory reporting of COVID hospitalizations from November 1st onward. November 1st onwards. November in the US. Anything happening around that time period? Swiss agnostic green liberal Muslim politician. I think you need to add some more adjectives in there. That doesn't seem like enough. And she shoots Jesus and Mary. People's brains are broken. In reality, their souls is the same. Is there some globalist factory churning out these liberal weirdos or what? Nuts. And I thought I sent the picture forward too, but there's a picture of this Swiss agnostic green liberal Muslim politician shooting I guess what's supposed to be a picture of Jesus and Mary. The Romanian MOD revealed that besides the likelihood of a Russian drone crashing into an uninhabited area close to the village of Periprava, another Russian drone was intercepted by two Romanian F-16 fighter jets and was followed until it left Romanian airspace, probably until it reached its intended target in the port of Chilea or Ismail. So essentially, Russia used Romanian airspace to attack Ukraine, and Romania didn't shoot it down. So this alleges, as well as the article here. Is this El Salvador? UH-1H helicopter of the Salvadorian Air Force crashed in the San Eduardo area, Pasaquina, La Union. On board were the former COSAVI manager, Manuel Cotto, and the Director General of the National Civil Police, Mauricio Riza Chicas. President Nayib Bukele has called for a thorough investigation of the incident and will seek international assistance to clarify what happened. And from Nayib Bukele, here's a tweet. El Director Arizona Chicas fue... Oh, I thought there was an English translation here. That doesn't help at all. Disregard. Oh, there is, right below it. Director Ariza Chicas was a key figure in bringing peace and security to our people. Notice this theme of peace and security, peace and safety propagating around the world as a selling point. He was not just any police director, he was the director of the police for the Territorial Control Plan, the state of exception, and the war against gangs. A loyal and incorruptible man who fought against everything, even when no one believed we could win, and we did. Yeah, see, loyalty and incorruptibility in this world might seem to be getting you more dead than nothing else. We will investigate this to our end, but no one can bring back our national hero. May God receive you, Mauricio Riza Chicas. See you soon, my friend. From Germany, the head of the German Interior Ministry has ordered the introduction of temporary control measures at all German land borders to reduce the influx of migrants, writes Bild. It happens as the number of Islamist attacks in German soil continues to grow, and as the Olaf Scholz SPD Greens government tries to cope with the rise of German right-wing nationalist AfD party in central Germany. Perhaps some cause and effect here of them seeing people leaning towards parties that have policies in favor of the Germans and not in favor of importing others to the country. Moment, a Russian bridge pontoon crossing along the Siem River was destroyed by Ukrainian HIMARS strike. Kursk region. I'm guessing Nazar or Azar means back up. That would be my guess. Or stop. The term President of Artsakh, Nagorno-Karabakh, does not exist for me, says Armenia's National Assembly Speaker, Alan Semyan. The Armenian Artsakh, Nagorno-Karabakh Inter-Parliamentary Commission should be dissolved because the other side is no longer competent, says Alan Semyan again. And on the topic of Armenia, Russian sources say Armenia has provided Ukraine with multiple air defense systems and a significant military aid package. So Armenia is saying the parliament should be dissolved and not recognized. Russia is saying Armenia provided weapons to Ukraine. Could there be something behind the scenes happening here that we don't know about? As you are probably aware, Azerbaijan and Armenia have been at war for quite some time. And I can't remember which side is winning, but whatever side it is winning quite substantially. I think it's Armenia, and Azerbaijan is essentially being wiped off the map. And it might be opposite. Apologies if that's incorrect. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico called on the international community to condemn the use of 1930s and 40s symbols from Germany by Ukrainian military personnel. From Sergei Lavrov, it's not about territories. We never wanted someone else's land. We wanted people who are part of the Russian world to be treated humanely as required by international law. And let's go ahead and look at what Israel is saying about Hezbollah. IDF Chief of Staff Haveli, Hezbollah's targeting of residential building this morning is considered a serious incident. So when parties were targeting Russian residents in eastern Ukraine, Russia did something about it, and the world didn't like that. Hezbollah targeting the people of Israel, well, Israel doesn't like that, and it's doing stuff about that. Interesting. And the West, the NATO and EU's, the US stance difference between the two. Very interesting indeed. From Canada, a Pakistani man living in Canada charged with attempting to enter US, carry out mass deletions with pew-pews in New York on October 7th anniversary. Apparently, they have intercepted that individual. That's what the article is pointing to. U.S. forces destroy one Houthi drone and one Houthi support vehicle in Yemen with an F-18, and I'm guessing with an F-18 since that's what's in the picture, and some very expensive weaponry. Notice this is like we were talking about cancer earlier. This is like introducing chemo to someone slowly and then pulling it away and letting the cancer rebuild. And then introducing a small round of chemo and then pulling it away and letting the cancer rebuild. And again and again and again. If the U.S. truly wanted to put an end to Houthi strikes, why not go and get it done? We have the firepower and the weaponry, but yet we destroy one Houthi drone and one Houthi support vehicle at a time using very expensive munitions. Multiple students arrested in Florida for threat to carry out mass pew-pews or act of frightening people. I'm not sure if that word's censored or not. Multiple students have been arrested for threatening to carry out the massive frightening event. So, a growing trend here in the U.S. all of a sudden. Do you think this is all just random, the exact timing of these events? Or are these people being coached and persuaded online to do this stuff? And then who is behind that coaching and that persuading is the question. Why all right now? U.S. forces destroy 3 Houthi drones and 2 missile systems in Yemen, reads this report. So I don't know if that's in addition to like a new event or if this is a running total for the day. NATO members Latvia, Romania find a drone within territory. Romania says drone crossed over into its territory. Perhaps that was an escalation attempt by some parties, but that wouldn't go very well for Russia at this point, because I don't think they can handle sending any more troops or resources or depleting their own economy anymore without some serious backlash from their local population, is my analysis of the situation. Haitian convenience store in Springfield, Ohio shut down for illegally deleting goats in the back room. And we touched on the topic of Springfield, Ohio, and a resident that spoke out against some of them and some of their activities that the locals are upset about. And this, of course, is being labeled as far right because it says anti-immigration protests in Dallas, Texas by far right, quote unquote, American black shirts. And the sign reads, "One Nation for Deportation," with their website at the bottom there. Can't read that exactly. Oh, it says blackshirt.us. From Germany, again, another article covering that they're about to start enforcing some migration regulation. And also notice it says to tackle irregular migration. Yeah. Yeah, you think it's a bit irregular. In the US, Macy's is set to close 55 stores by the end of 2024, which is only a few months away. From Carolina Lion, Macy's caters to the upper middle class, it says, which tells you the economic conditions are starting to affect more than the working classes. I wouldn't say that's absolutely true. They have some pretty good deals in there. Any company in the clothing industry has to offer, I should say, any large company, like any large outlet like this, like Macy's, has to offer products at multiple price points in order to have enough sales and revenue. Right? You have to cater to all the individuals. If it was a much smaller store, high end, like a Louis Vuitton store, then yeah. But these massive complexes, they have to have products that appeal to multiple economic levels. It wouldn't be sustainable otherwise. The U.S.-led coalition forces are set to leave Iraq before 2026, PM Advisor. Forces in the global coalition against the Islamic State, ISIS, are set to completely leave Iraq by the end of next year, an advisor to Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani revealed on Sunday, while the United States has described it as a security transition. Which is interesting in the light of the attacks that have been growing. We see U.S. forces in the area, substantial U.S. forces in the area, and talks of leaving the area. Perhaps those forces are there to protect troops while they leave, so as not to have another Afghanistan event take place. In the talks between Iraq and the U.S., we have reached an agreement for the international coalition forces against Islamic State, including U.S. forces, to withdraw from Iraq by the end of 2025, says Saban Mullah Jihad, the political advisor to Iraqi Prime Minister. He added some troops in the U.S.-led global anti-ISIS coalition will leave Iraq in the coming months. According to the agreement, the withdrawal will begin before the end of the year, but initially only a small number of forces will be withdrawn, and later, through several phases, all will be pulled out by the end of 2025, he said. Around 2,500 U.S. troops in Iraq and 900 in Syria are leading an international coalition through Operation Inherent Resolve that has assisted Kurdish, Iraqi, and local Syrian forces in the fight against ISIS, which once held swaths of land in Iraq and Syria, but was declared territorially defeated in 2019. The group remains a security threat, carrying out attacks on military targets and civilians on both sides of the border. From a Powell Wojcicki, however you say that, forces in the global coalition against the Islamic State are set to completely leave Iraq by the end of next year, an advisor told Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. At Brown University, black freshman enrollment drops 40%. The first-year class is the first admitted since the Supreme Court outlawed race-based affirmative action. Despite efforts to limit the impact of the Supreme Court's ban on race-based affirmative action, Brown's class of 2028 has a significant decrease in black and Hispanic domestic students compared to previous years. The share of students in the freshman class dropped 40%, while that of Hispanic students dropped 29% compared to last year. The share of domestic Asian freshmen increased 14% compared to last year. The number of students who did not report race or ethnicity nearly doubled from 4% to 7%. So we see people hiding their race a bit more, not only in college applications, but also in job applications. Over to the Middle East. For some reason, it is not reloading all of my Middle East events. There we go. And I think I added some stuff late last night. I did. Let's see. think, yeah, right here. So on September 2nd, in a not so shocking turn of events, Bangladesh Jamaat al-Islami, the local branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, declared it held extensive talks about common interests between them and the Chinese ambassador to Bangladesh following the overthrow of the pro-India former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. After meeting with Jamaat's Amir, the Chinese ambassador praised Bangladesh as a beautiful country and described the Islamic Jamaat-e-Islami as well organized. He expressed that China desires a friendly relationship with the people of Bangladesh and will continue to work towards Bangladesh's development, progress, and prosperity. During Sheikh Hasina's tenure, China was seen as a close ally of the ruling Awami League Party after India. However, after Sheikh Hasina's fall, China has been one of the few countries discussing cooperation with the interim government led by Dr. Muhammad Yunus. After the meeting, the Chinese ambassador and the jail leaders held a joint press conference. The Syrian Observatory for Sky News Arabia has had huge material losses at the Scientific Research Center in Mayasif as a result of Israeli strikes. And here is a photo of the alleged strikes on the center. And here's a quote of the event. Israeli Air Force planes launched 15 missiles at various targets in Damascus, Homs, Hama, and Tartus. A number of senior officials in the Syrian army, along with other Hezbollah operatives, were killed in attacks on the Mezef area. Huge destruction at the Scientific Institute in Syria, says Al Hadath, a Saudi state-owned media. In Al Manar, Syrian air defenses confront an Israeli aggression again in the vicinity of the city of Masyaf, west of Hama. This quote reads, "The attacks in Syria are unusual and extremely extensive." And here's a video of the fires, supposedly, from those strikes. And it says a munitions facility was also hit. Israeli Foreign Minister threatens to disband the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. And I quote here, "If the Palestinians, by their actions, provoke serious measures against Israel, then we will resort to severe measures against the Palestinian Authority, up to and including a complete cessation of cooperation with it and its dissolution," says Israel Katz, Foreign Minister of Israel. In Turkey, Turkish President Erdogan has hit out at military graduates who took a pro-secular oath during their graduation ceremony, promising that those behind it would be purged from the military. Erdogan was present at the graduation ceremony at the Turkish Military Academy in Ankara on August 30th. Valedictorian Erbu Arugula led the 960-strong graduating class in reciting the official military oath about defending Turkey, but video footage from about an hour later shows about 400 of the gathered in a field, raising their swords and chanting, "We are the soldiers of Mustafa Kemal," a reference to the secular founder of modern Turkey, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. Earlier today, September 9th, Israel media reported that a direct UAV hit against its building has taken place in Nahariya, northern Israel. An apartment on the 14th floor of a building in Nahariya was hit in a drone attack coming from Lebanon on Monday. According to the IDF, a second drone was intercepted. Footage showed children spotting the drone and the moment of impact. Lebanon's Hezbollah claimed the attack. And there it is, making impact. There are reports of U.S. airstrikes targeting the private military force in Al Soraya camp in the Wasit Governorate. A security source reported that an explosion occurred inside an ammunition warehouse belonging to Kataib Hezbollah in the city of Al Soraya in Wasit Governorate. The source said the accident occurred when a fire broke out in the glass near one of the containers buried underground, and due to poor storage, the explosion occurred. He added that the equipment belongs to the battalions and is located outside the walls of the Popular Mobilization Forces. Oh, I thought it was private. Popular Mobilization Forces. Logistical Support Camp Al Soraya District. Syria has reported that the number of deletions as a result of Israeli airstrikes last night has risen to 14, and an additional 43 were wounded by the strikes. Prime Minister Netanyahu briefed military personnel and explained to them that we must end this story. The strongest part of the Iranians in the north is Hezbollah in Lebanon, so it's time to deal with them as well, per an Israeli MK. The nightmare of our decisive response shakes the enemy day and night, and Israel cannot strike and escape easily, says Hussein Soleimani, Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Remember, that's what IRGC stands for. It's not Iranian, it's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So that gives context to what their group's about. Islamic Revolution. An Israeli security source. We are just a few days away from making a decision regarding the northern front in Lebanon. The New York Times reports that a Pakistani national has been arrested for planning an attack on Jews in New York in the name of ISIS. So now we're seeing a crackdown of people across Canada, the US, all over the world. Apparently there's a lot of people planning attacks, and who could have guessed that that would have been an effect of letting people wander all over your country with the gates wide open from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. U.S. Commander of CENTCOM, Michael Kurilla, alongside senior U.S. military leaders, have arrived in Israel to meet Herzai Halevi, Israeli Chief of Staff. Arai Gordon, Israeli Chief of the Northern Command, will present IDF operation plans for Lebanon during his meeting with the U.S. Commander of CENTCOM, Michael Kurilla. It's reported that there's Global Positioning System, or GPS, interference in Port Said, Egypt. And let's see, my miscellaneous tab, went over that yesterday. From today, CSDPA. What is CSDPA? Let me check on that, just to double check so I don't misreport here. CS-DPA. Strategic Framework for the Defense of the People of Aswad, or Northern Mali. That's what I thought. So this is Northern Mali. It says there was some speculation that, what are they called? What are they called? The folks from Wagner. That Wagner was operating in Mali on behalf of Russia, and there was allegations that Ukraine provided them support to fight back against Wagner in Mali. So there's some context to this. It says, we have not received any military assistance from the Ukrainians, but we welcome any support, weapons, and training for military personnel, says Mohammed Ramadani, spokesperson for the CS-DPA. With Ukraine, we have a common enemy, the Russian Wagner. They invaded Ukraine like they have invaded Azawad. Wagner is the cause of misfortune and destruction in many countries: Libya, Syria, and the Central African Republic, Sudan, and of course Ukraine. He continues, the struggle against Russian imperialism is a global fight because Russia is a threat to the whole world, says Mohammed Ramadani. There will be a trilateral meeting of defense ministers of Azerbaijan, Turkey, Georgia, in Tbilisi, Georgia, tomorrow. So remember, Azerbaijan is the enemy of Oh boy, I'm having a tough time remembering today. They're the enemy of Armenia, in which there appears to be some behind the scenes action calling for Armenia to be replaced, to have its parliament replaced, and not recognizing its president right now. So, in the light of that, we have this event going on as well. And that is all I have for this update. I'll have more later. Till then, stay exponentially aware.